The topic is contemporary issues in the economic system. In this segment, we are going to look at deregulation and economic reforms. A. Deregulation is referred to the removal of government controls from an industry or a sector to allow for a free and efficient market conditions, e.g., as in the oil industry. Note that in the case of free and efficient market condition, it's referring to the price system that fixes the price through the interaction of the forces of demand and supply. A1. The regulation of the Nigerian oil industry. The upstream sector. The upstream sector is concerned with exploration and production of crude oil. The downstream sector, it deals with the refining of crude oil for domestic consumption. So we are talking about maybe petrol, kerosene, diesel for domestic consumption. What actually is economic reform? Economic reform refers to the removal of government participation in enterprises, e.g., as in the telecommunication industry. The feeling of government is that these corporations are inefficient, corrupt, and they have failed the people. One popularly known economic reform in Nigeria is B1, privatization. In essence, privatization is a policy of total withdrawal of government from business in which it has shares. By selling such shares to the public, it may also involve the outright sale of a public enterprise to the public. So in the first instance, government will draw its shares, no more participation. Then the second instance, the government sell out completely the enterprise, as in the case of Delta Steel Company, in Delta State. B2, commercialization. In essence, commercialization is a policy of making government enterprises self-financing instead of being dependent on the government for funds for their operations. Hitherto now, government established corporations, and at the end, government end up funding such corporations, whereas they do not make profits. Specifically, the enterprises are made to generate enough revenue to pay themselves and also make some level of profits. B3, monetization. Monetization involves reducing government burden on the provision of fringe benefits to public servants in Nigeria. Before this period, public servants were actually given such free benefit as furniture, drivers, gardeners, and so on and so forth. However, with monetization, such free benefits are converted to money and paid to the civil servants. So it depends on whether they want to own those things or they don't. Examples. Question number 1. The upstream oil activities involves the option A, marketing of crude oil, B, marketing of refined products, C, refining of crude oil, D, exploration of crude oil. In answering this question, we have to know exactly what the upstream sector is. The upstream sector actually deals with exploration. Now, the options. A, marketing of crude oil is not correct because there is no exploration. B, marketing of refined product, not correct, is no exploration. C, refining of crude oil is not correct because it has nothing to do with extraction. D, exploration of crude oil. Option D is correct. Therefore, the correct option is D. Question 2. The downstream oil activities entails A, refining of crude oil for domestic use. B, exploration of crude oil. C, exportation of crude oil. D, importation of crude oil. Of course, to answer this question 2, we have to know what the downstream oil sector entails. The downstream oil sector entails refining of crude oil. Option A, refining of crude oil for domestic use. Option A is correct because it's talking about refining of crude oil, which tallies with the activities of the downstream sector. Now, option B, exploration of crude oil. This is the upstream sector. So B is not correct. C, exportation of crude oil. This is international trade. C is not correct. D, importation of crude oil. Also international trade. So D is not correct. The correct option is A. The correct answer is option A. Question number 3. The monetization policy of the Nigerian government is aimed at A, encouraging public servants to retire early. B, transferring government power to the retired civil servants. C, reducing government burden on the provision of fringe benefits to civil servants. D, helping governments recover properties held by civil servants. Looking at option A, encouraging public servants to retire early. Government does not do so. So A is not correct. B, transferring government power to retired civil servants. Nowhere in the world is government power transferred to retired civil servants. So B is not correct. C, reducing government burden on the provision of fringe benefit to civil servants. Option C is correct because what government has done is to monetize fringe benefit. That is, instead of government providing such fringe benefit, like providing drivers, gardeners, and so on, government now pays. So it depends on the individual civil servant to hire or not such services. D, helping government recover properties held by civil servants. Even now, government does not provide such property to civil servants, so there is no call for helping government to recover such. So option D is not correct. It is option C that is correct. The correct option is C.